What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome to Team Action Secret Headquarters.
Yeah, I'm here. This is Dastly Drew. We got Ben the Boss Bateman.
What's up, everybody? We're back. You only get access to this normally if you give us your hard-earned moolah. But you know what? Today, we're doing you the distinct favor of giving you free content. That's right, free.
We're being very generous. That's all we've been doing lately is doing these idiots favors. We brought them back. Dan Merle, the GOAT. No one could do that but us.
You know, it's me and Drew, but we should introduce our good buddy, Nick Cage. We are back, and today we are going to do a quick reaction to our experience at the Movie Trivia Schmoedown live event this last week. It was insane.
Yeah, talk about getting screwed on stage in front of 400 people by an ex-commissioner who doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Crazy.
Oops. Oh wait, did I just say all that?
Oops, you did it again.
I sure as hell did. Now, we'll take a little step back and say that we had fun getting ready for it.
It was a great time, guys. It was a great time. You know what? Drew and I have decided that today we are going to give you unfiltered, real team action. Are you ready, Drew?
Yeah, I guess we can actually talk about what it was one of the coolest things I've ever done.
To see the rest of this video, guys, you should check out patreon.com/team action. We do free videos every single week. For the Patreons.
Yeah, for the patrons only.
But we're going to talk about the match as Ben and Drew because it was an amazing experience in our lives and we want to talk about it. So donate $1 if you want to see us talk about it. Otherwise, we'll be back with more obnoxious videos that you don't have to pay for.
That's right. And for you guys that are still here that decided to stick around, man, where do we even begin?
It was one of the crazier nights, events. Neither of us had ever sold out a theater. And not to say that it was only us. Obviously, the Shire Wolves, Ken, Scrimshaw, Alex, everything, the whole entire thing.
Christian, Mark. But to sell out a theater of that level, of that magnitude, 300 plus seats, with us headlining the event was, it was incredibly humbling. And I think as we got closer and closer, we were starting to really realize how big of a deal it was.
Yeah, I'm a host. You're an actor.
Yeah.
We're both hosts. But, your dream out here is to be doing the acting thing. It's to be in movies. It's to be performing for large crowds, for the world. And it's funny, one of the fans was tweeting at you about it and wrote a blog post, but it's you legitimately, he was you were actually acting up there. You were doing your bit. And sure you were.
And it was so cool. And you pointed out to me afterwards that as you said, it's my dream to do that. And
right.
To be able to do it on that stage in front of that many people with the lights on and with my best buddy, it was, it really has. The Schmoedown's brought us such an awesome, an incredible fan base and just opportunity over the last year.
Yeah, it's been really pretty amazing. So, I think probably the best way to do this is to kind of go through the bits of the event one at a time.
Yeah.
So, we get there. Obviously, it's really exciting. People are starting to line up. And
so Ben and I, we're normal. We're hungry. we have to feed our meters just like everyone else. So we get there for the rehearsal. We're there for 45 minutes doing a rehearsal for the show, and we won't tell you too much about that. We won't want to ruin anything for you.
Yeah.
But we did the rehearsal. And we went to go get some food and fill up our put some money in my meter. And we were coming back and we were oh my God.
Yeah.
There's people lined up around the block, and this was at 5 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was pretty wild. We kind of snuck out, got some food, got back in there, and pretty quickly the green room, the whole entire underground area of the theater, was filled with all of the competitors. So there's probably 50 Schmoedown competitors, reactors, the people in the sort of the inner circle, significant others, milling around, having drinks, eating, and we have this little dressing room, and we just kind of hid in the dressing room for the majority of the pre-show because, it was too overwhelming.
It was. We already knew there was going to be an insane amount of people there, but, the green room hype, honestly, is probably what it must have felt like out there in the audience for the fans because, like you said, it was a swarm. And not that we didn't love it, but, we had a big match coming up, There were 3 belts down there. There was Patreon fans that got to come and meet people. There was all the reactors, so...
we had our outfits, but, guys, it's LA, it's hot, so, all of this stuff, we were we have to wait till the last possible minute to put on these tight gloves and these,
these ridiculous top hats.
Yeah. So, I think, if you guys are watching or listening, that Drew and I have a real sense of humor about this stuff. We very much sort of wanted to be Apollo Creed entering the theater. That's kind of how we imagined it. So the top hats, the flashing glasses, the cane, all of it was what is the most ostentatious, obnoxious, exciting, and I think we pulled it off.
Because you and I, we've been talking, over the prior weeks, like figuring out exactly what we wanted and exactly how we were going to come out. We weren't really sure, but then I think it was like Monday or Tuesday, the week of, we were like, I think we figured it out. We finally like hit the Amazon hard, and even when we tried them on, we were like, God, I think this is awesome, but it might not be.
Yeah, right. I mean, I bought the white jacket. I like sent her a picture of the white jacket. I was like, you got to. This is gonna be perfect. And when we put it all on, it was like, this is a lot.
Well, because a lot of times in our friendship, we're always like, is this just funny to us,
Yeah.
or?
Yeah. I sent a picture to Christian, and Christian was like, well, it's not really intimidating. I was like, says you. And he was like, and I was like, Apollo, we want to be Apollo Creed. And Christian texts me back and he says, Apollo almost lost. And I said, they can have almost. All right? This is our night.
This is Rocky 1.
Yeah, this is
ladies
Rocky
and gentlemen.
1.
It ended up being Rocky 2.
Yeah. But so we got all the outfits, we got ready. And as you guys know, you've seen the show, there was a lot of pageantry that happened after the match that we had to be prepared for.
Yeah.
Fast costume changes, some jackass impersonating Dan Murrell out there.
You were like a theater major in the thick of it. Like you changed outfits 3 times, I think, throughout the entire show, and there was no time. There was no time, and it was very, very hot. But that Merle outfit, when you tried it on in the dressing room, there was I think Dagnino was down there and Roca, some other people. With his head down, people legitimately thought it was Dan Murrell.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So we get out there for the match. We do our pregame. I'll be honest with you guys. I've been a performer my whole life. I moved to LA originally. I've talked about this on shows to be a musician. I toured a little bit. I had a couple albums out. Performed live 100 times. And I'm not used to it, but just backstage before we came out to do our pregame, just for a second, my hand started shaking a little. I was like, whoa. I was like, what the hell is this? So it really means a lot to me. That Schmoedown, obviously, there was no nervousness once we got out there, but like, it just means a lot. It's like really, I wanted to win. I wanted to perform. I wanted to put on a show. Everything. I
mean, there was 400 people there with the competitors and the fans and everything. It was a thing where it's like we wanted to deliver the best that we possibly could. And it's funny because I'm the opposite. I'm the type. Well, I'm not quite the opposite, but I was the opposite that night where I was just ready to go.
Yeah, you're hyped.
I was hyped, but then when I actually sat down and had to calm down, that's when my nerves were like I was like at the table I could feel I like took the cap off and my hand was shaking. I was like, dude, this is. And then obviously you guys know the first round was a brutal first round for me, but I was so happy I was even able to get those 3. And I know that sounds really pathetic, and it is. It does. Because even in those moments, like I know those 3 answers very, very well, but you miss a couple, the audience, people are yelling at you, the lights, you're like, is James Caan not gonna get there in time? Because I know who he is.
It's crazy because like there's 2 kinds of knowledge, right? There's innate knowledge where it's there and you there's no question, right? It's like who starred in Taxi Drivers? Robert De Niro. It's like there's like no hesitation. It's just in your brain. You're never gonna forget that.
And then there's the knowledge that you have to go and access and open up within 15 seconds.
Yeah, because maybe it's somebody's name who you don't say very often.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just you have a brain fart. So for me, interestingly enough, like I had a really good round. I had 7 of 8.
I mean, the only thing I think that kept me alive in the first round was the fact that you were doing so well and that Clark and Rachel each started missing a couple questions because they were initially perfect, as were you, and I was like 1 of 4.
Yeah, so it was just the whole experience was very interesting because like, again, we're behind the curtain just for a second here, guys, but like our characters are probably further from us than anybody in the Schmoedown, I would think.
I can't imagine anyone else.
I don't know who else is like. I mean, we're pretty loud. We're pretty obnoxious. So
we are completely dicks. We're complete dicks.
Yeah, but like Rachel's a good friend. I love Rachel. I love Clark. They're great.
Same.
Like, and I knew Rachel was nervous going to the match, as did you. I feel for that, obviously.
Of course.
So like, I tried to kind of rib her a little bit at the table and give her some smack talk. Like, I don't know if it helped. I remember like, tough miss, Rach. Like she missed a question. Then I was like, you want to switch pens? Like, a couple lines like that. She literally didn't respond to me or look at me.
Oh, because I mean, she couldn't. Yeah. Rachel had one goal for her whole night, and that was just to stay in the zone and let nothing else affect her. And God damn it, that girl do it.
I mean, when you a bad round 1 is 5 of 8, you know that you're dealing with one of the best of all time.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
The fact that she like whiffed on a question I think she knew. So obviously she's pretty unflappable.
Yeah, and honestly, Clark is too. And I think going into round 2, had they not spun horror, you and I would have been in a much better place.
It was tough. Yeah, I mean, obviously they get a strength. Horror's a broad category. It's a strength. We had talked about Kurt Russell knowing, we'd seen the wheel, or I can't remember. Maybe we. When they spun, because they spun first.
Yeah.
So we, it was kind of like. We knew, because that's a wheel category, that's just not one we particularly wanted.
Yeah, there was like a couple up there that weren't our favorites, and as you saw, we spun away from Kurt Russell, but it was more so because once we'd landed on Kurt first, it was like, it's not the worst it could get, but it was pretty close. And like, horror's not your favorite, but I love horror. I actually knew most of the answers to her questions.
Yeah, right.
Someone said that she said Alex Tudyk instead of Alan Tudyk. I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure I very clearly heard her say Alan, or else I would have challenged it.
Yeah.
Because after our last match against DC Movie News, I'm not going to mess up Alan Tudyk again.
Yeah. So they have a really good round there, and if we hadn't come back so many times in matches, maybe we would have been a little more scared.
Yeah, I wasn't worried.
But down 10 points, like going into round 2, we've just had so many of those. We've done it a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I felt pretty good about that wheel overall. There was probably a half dozen categories that I felt like we had a really good shot at.
For sure, and the fact that like opponents and spinners were still up there, and that horror wasn't an option, we could spin another time. It was a thing where we felt very good going into round 2.
Yeah. So this is for me my favorite moment of the match, because we've talked about it at length, but
I mean, just do it. Just say it. Take all the credit, man.
Well, I was just gonna say, for the week leading up to the match. So movie release dates is the ultimate MacGuffin, right? Because it's like you can think you're strong at it, you can think you're great at it, but you can get hit with 5 or 6 that you don't know, and multiple choice doesn't help you. So just like it's a strength to put it on the wheel, and it's great to be able to give it to your opponents for opponent's choice, because people are usually bad at it.
Right.
It can really be a double-edged sword. You're 1 year off on half your answers, you get no credit.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like you can guess your way into it. So we spun it, and I kind of, for the week leading up to it, I had a bunch of different people quiz me.
Yeah, you had been hitting movie release dates really hard, and I don't know if you can see it in the match, but we both get a big smile on our face.
I was pretty excited, just more than anything, because this is the biggest stage. This is as big as it gets.
Yeah.
I mean, this is bigger than a title match because it's live.
And you've never had a chance to showcase your ability in movie release dates, especially not on this big of a stage. Or even test
myself, really.
Yeah.
I mean, so I had 200 movies between 4 people in the days prior with 15-second clocks, and I still finished just in the 200 movies just under 80%. So I was like, I think this is something I can do. Looking at lists like the most prominent movies, AFI Top 100s, things like that, really kind of just being like, okay, if it's a movie that's prominent, I know it.
Yeah.
So we missed Clueless, obviously, by 1 year. They get the steal. That was a huge moment.
That was a very big moment, because if they didn't get the steal, it's one of those things where hindsight's 2020. They don't get the steal. We go into round 3 tied. Should we have gone multiple choice because you weren't 100%? But then no matter what, it's a year off, so they only get 1 point.
Yeah.
I actually thought it might be 1995, but I'm never going to step on Ben's toes when it comes to movie release dates, because he's 80% right, and I'm usually 90% of the time 1 year off.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only other one in there that was a little bit hard for me was Truman Show. I had to really kind of place how old I was, trying to remember seeing it with my brother at the Neptune Theater in Seattle, walking out of the theater, where I was, exactly what grade I was in, things that had happened that same week or month.
Yeah.
To try to place where I was, and that's how I got 98. But
that always blows my mind, because your ability to deduce where you were in your life at the time that a movie came out based off of your events around it is like, I can't do that.
I know. I've talked to Levine a little bit. He's very good at release dates as well. He's shown it by taking it as a category on a spinner's choice. He has a similar ability to place where he was and frame that
like
memory.
what he was doing.
That's his. I mean, I'm sure everybody has a different process, but he uses that one. So going to multiple choice, I think it wouldn't have helped on Clueless.
No, it would have been the reason to go to multiple choice was because you weren't confident in your answer and to give them 1 less point on a steal. But even then, she could have said 93 or 96. We never know. So then we move into round 3, and we're down 2 points going into round 3, feeling pretty damn good. Feeling completely revitalized. It felt like the first round was in the dust. It was in the history. It felt like the mistakes from round 1 weren't going to come back to bite us in the ass in round 3. However, they did. But
momentum felt like it was on our side. I think that that's.
And the audience got pretty silenced by that moment.
Yeah, it was nice. It was good vindication. Like, we're in this, guys. We're gonna take this to the final blow. And so this is. There's a couple controversial moments in the match. We're gonna talk about them now. For me, the 2-point question you got. The question itself is not controversial as much as the fact that compared to their 2-point question.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of explain our thought process here, because
This isn't going to become. This is not going to become a thing where we're just bitching about the rules and complaining about why we lost.
No,
we're gonna try to be as objective as we possibly can, because we all know, at the end of the day, there's about 30 people there that are just trying to put on an amazing show for the other 380.
And we know that, like Christian said this on the rundown yesterday, that like Skalicki gets 90% of it right. So the 10% that he gets wrong, you can't rake the guy over the coals. He doesn't have a staff. He's doing pretty much the whole thing by himself.
Yep.
So, I think when you get this 2-point question, it's who plays the prosecutor and the accused. Which, how did you feel when you got asked it? Was it just, even when they said Jodie Foster, were you just like...
and our good friend Mark Andreyko, he laughs because he knows it's an absurd question for me. However, it's a very easy question for him, and William Bibbiani thought it was an incredibly easy question.
Yeah.
For me, I hear The Accused, and I'm like, okay, that came out the year I was born, right? Great, 1988 movie with Jodie Foster in it. I didn't even know that much about it when the question was asked, and then all of a sudden the answer is Kelly McGillis, who's been in Witness, The Accused, and Top Gun.
Pretty much.
It was tough because she's not even... Now, to give them credit, now Ben and I did our research afterwards, obviously. Kelly McGillis is on the cover. She's billed first.
Yeah, she was top billed. I mean, so at the time when The Accused came out, which was the year we were born, it was a big deal movie because McGillis was hot. She had a few really big years there. Jodie Foster was one of those... She wasn't Jodie Foster yet. She won her first Oscar literally for that movie, but it was a big deal movie. And it was an Oscar-winning movie. Jodie Foster wins the Oscar for it. So a lot of people saw it. It was controversial at the time. If we were 10 or 15 or 20 years older, that's probably an easy answer.
It should have been,
But it's not. It's 30 years old, and it's a little deeper. Now, maybe that's a 3-pointer, not a 2-pointer, but whatever it is, it's not that question that bothers us.
Yeah, it could have been a 3, it could have been a 5 in some crazy world, maybe. We've seen some easier 5-point questions out there, but it didn't feel like a fair 2, especially when the next 2-point question asked was about a movie that had only been out for 15 years, starring a current A-list actress who also won the Oscar for that role.
Yeah, I think that's the harder part about it, is it's that we know that information that Reese Witherspoon played June Carter Cash, that's current information because she's starring in movies now.
And I can't imagine if the tables were flipped and that was asked to anyone in the world, if as a spectator or even a member of the opposite faction would be like, oh, ha ha, like you're screwed, because I think almost 80% of the people in the auditorium knew that answer.
Yeah, it's literally the difference between an A-list actress is one of her 2 most famous roles versus somebody who is not even C-list anymore in her 3rd most famous role. Maybe it's her 2nd.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
She's not a movie star.
Right. And like, again, if they asked who starred in The Accused and won an Academy Award for it, that's a 2-point question. That's a 1-point question. I still would have got it wrong.
So there you go. So that's so to move past the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. No harm, no foul. It is what it is. Like, sometimes you know the answer, sometimes you don't. It's just a unifying of the contextual nature of questions. Needs to happen, and there's conversation within the community. It'll probably happen. So
yeah, and I still honestly, moving on to the 3-point question that you were asked, not only was it worded incredibly discombobulated and confusing, what a pull, bro.
Yes, hilarious. Yeah. It's
you've done that a few times now. Where you Manchurian Candidate's another example where I just kind of am like, I'm a little blown away.
Yeah. They asked the question, and I like to take that pause when I get asked those questions. I like to go down to 1 and make sure that my best guess, my best answer is there. And so, I did. And Solaris, it's the fact that it's the year. That's why I knew it.
Yeah, I was just racking my brain for what Clooney was doing in that time, because that's kind of like an in-between phase for him,
Early, yeah, it's pretty early. Yeah, it's... and the fact that it was Natasha McElhone, who is actually the girl in The Truman Show. I know who that is, and so the only movie I could think of that started the 2 of them together was Solaris. So it's actually, incidentally, it's the Steven Soderbergh movie made after Ocean's 11.
Oh, really?
It's his follow-up.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, but anyway, so we get the 3, and it goes back to us for the 5, and this is where it gets really, really, really topsy-turvy.
Yeah, this gets a little crazy.
So we get asked the first question, and it kind of goes like this. It's like, okay, Breaking Bad alum plays the leader of the wolf pack in...
Aquila in The Jungle Book.
So I don't know. I was like, it's not Cranston. I was like, it's not Aaron Paul. And you're like, I think it's Giancarlo Esposito. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I've seen that movie. I don't I don't think it is. You're like, I think it is.
I was like, and then I'm like 100% sure because honestly, I lost a match on the Jungle Book recently with Jon Favreau before it came out, and so I went and watched it. I loved it, and I was like, I'm sure it is now.
So we repeat the question, and I lean into the mic and I say the name of a baseball player. And so the reason I say it and not Drew, and this is maybe a mistake on our part, we like to vary who answers the questions no matter who knows them. That's why Drew answers, I think, 2 or 3 of the movie release dates questions.
Mm-hmm. And I only knew, honestly, one of them confidently. Like I was, like, if it was like Ben didn't know it, I'd be like, I got it. This all, and to add to what you're saying, and I've heard a lot of fans talk about it, the mic situation at the desk was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I almost gave up on leaning into the mic in the first round because I just realized it was next to Clark and I couldn't really.
Yeah.
So it also took our smack talk out of the game in round 1 for me, which was kind of brutal.
Yeah. So we say that, he says Giancarlo who, and I say
he goes, what? Yeah.
Esposito, and it's their winner, and we challenge it. Here's the tough thing.
Yeah.
We lost that match.
We lost the match.
I said the wrong name. I said the wrong answer audibly into a microphone. Mm-hmm. Whether or not I knew the right answer, you want to say cat, you say dog. If dog's the wrong answer, you're wrong and you lose.
Because you said it.
So, and not only that, but even if they had given us the 5 points for that, they're very good players. They might have just beaten us with their 5. They
probably would have, but that also would have been a better show in my opinion, but I'm not the one that writes the script. Now.
So then, we get a second 5-point question, and it's the Dennis the Menace question, and it goes like this.
I lean over, I go, it's the 2 guys from Grumpy and Grumpier Old Men. It's Jack Lemmon and the guy with the dark hair. He's a dark hair. His first name is...
Gets down to 1, and we have her repeat the question neither one of us uses there.
We don't... I
can't think Walter Matthau. So he says Jack Lemmon, and in a panic moment, I say Tony Curtis because of Some Like It Hot. And that's the 2 of them in my mind is what.
And literally right when he goes Tony Curtis, you can. I don't know if they. Again, I didn't even watch the match. I go, no, it's. And I go, it's fucking Walter Matthau. And then Christian goes, yep.
So yeah, it's a brutal loss. We can move on from it because it's been talked to death.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like, we lost the match.
We loved what we got to do there. We loved that we got to entertain. We loved that we got honored enough to be the headliners.
The irony is that Andrew knew both 5-pointers in the end. And the second one's debatable. I mean, you knew it, but like, you
I don't know.
Jumped in with it. So
I should have said repeat the question. Yeah. Yeah.
The first one's just on me. I just said the wrong name. But it is what it is. I mean, there's so many things about that match. Whatever.
Yeah.
So we go to the post game. We do ours first, knowing that I have to get back there to become fake Merle.
Yep, and I'm upset to say the least. I am upset, but
you channel all that rage though
into what it's where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and it's a pretty goddamn good promo, man. I've watched it a couple times. It's really good. You're stomping the cane. You're pissed. You call Christian a fake commissioner.
Yeah,
it's good, and I'm back there like pants around my ankles, like trying to put on my Merle clothes. I went to Goodwill and got all that stuff.
Oh, just the most wonderful outfit I've ever seen.
Yeah, just the washed out jeans.
I've never seen Ben in a pair of jeans like that, and I probably never will again in my life.
And the hat, the whole thing, the glasses. So I get ready and I walk out there. We do this whole bit. You give the great third line, the setup, and then the
Reese Witherspoon. Yeah, I felt good about that one.
It is funny, and then the whole Horseman thing happens.
Which, honestly, I'm not even a fan of the Horsemen. Even not being Dastardly Drew, they're just not like, no, I don't really care about the 4 Horsemen. It's not been like a huge faction that I've followed before I was a competitor. But my God, did I get chills watching it.
It was awesome.
I watched it like a handful of times. Chills, like...
It just is awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool. And to see the level of what the Schmoedown's become and the fans losing it, like...
Oh my God, they put up the 4s. When Riley's comes off, he's like... And they lose it. It's like so awesome, and we're just sitting there, just kind of like, oh my. And then we know
we're trying not to fanboy out too, you know.
I love Roca. I'm a big Roca fan, and big Riley fan too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love Riley, Roca, and Merle. I just don't really care about the Horsemen specifically.
Yeah, and we like all those guys, but the point is, in terms of the characters in the game, I think a lot of you guys know we're big fans.
Yeah, it's no slight on Inman.
And then Merle comes out and and he just kills it, man. He does a great job with his bit, the whole thing, you kill it. It just was awesome. I don't know. There's not really that much else to say about it. It just was crazy to be a part of it and see the reactions. And of course, then it's over and at that point we're the assholes. And
Yeah, at that point we're the assholes. We've
lost.
We get booed off stage. We lost. One of my favorite things. There was a couple of my favorite moments afterwards. So the match is all done, and we're kind of hanging out, waiting for the VIP pictures meet and greet. And there was definitely I think my absolute favorite one was when the guy walked straight past me, shook your hand, and go, "You played a great match tonight," and then walked on to the Shire Wolves.
So mad.
I was just like, "Wow, this guy, this fucking guy."
Yeah.
But hey, man, could we have asked for anything more other than obviously a victory would have been great, but like that's not what it's all about.
We were pretty fired up. I mean, losing sucks, but we tried to be gracious. I gave my gloves to a Team Action fan.
Yeah. And the love from all the fans was amazing. Even Shire Wolves fans were very supportive of the show that we put on.
Yeah, I mean, those girls played a hell of a game.
They really did, man.
They really did.
They are heavy hitters in the league, and I think we all knew that from the moment they formed.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of the recap from start to finish. Obviously what's next will be, you guys will probably find out more in the actual Schmoedown stuff.
Yeah. I am going to beat Dan Murrell in person on camera, though, this time, because the first time didn't get documented. I'm sick of trying to prove myself.
Yeah, it was a great match. He should have been really embarrassed the first time.
I mean, he was really embarrassed. I think that's actually why he retired.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Yeah. It's weird.
So, anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It is Team Action Secret Headquarters, patreon.com/Team Action. We appreciate you guys being fans. We do Schmoedown reaction type of stuff like this maybe once a month, and then we do like just general movie top 5 lists, fan reactions, little like reviews and stuff. And we always do it here with our boy Cage.
Yeah, and we're not in character, so don't worry. It's just me, Ben, and of course,
Nick Cage. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.